Okay, so I'm going to share my screen if that's okay, and we'll just get started. And if I'm talking and you all want to say something, please just interrupt me because I may just keep talking, but I do want to get your feedback as we go on with this. First of all, I want to just explain that I will be providing a lot of communications on ACE Connect in the poster subcommittee group from now on. And if you are not familiar with that, if you go on the ACE website, which is aaceonline.com, and go into the link that says ACE Connect, and when you get on the website, you will go into communities, my communities, and then the poster judging subcommittee will be down here. I will post a lot of our messages in this committee. And so when I post those messages, you will receive those messages within a couple of days, within 24 hours. And you can respond to those within a couple of days. So you'll automatically get an email on those. And then you can go in and get the information. So I just wanted to show that to you so that you know where to look for that.
Yeah, thank you. I struggled to get there and I had to reset my username and password and everything. So good to know. And I've saved it, bookmarked it now.
Great, Sam. I'm glad to hear that. If you have any trouble in the future, please let me know. You should not need a password you may need a password for other places on that site, but because your name is listed in that committee now, you shouldn't have any problem getting in there even without a password.
Okay, great.
So let me know if you don't. Yeah. And welcome, Susan. We're glad to have you a part of this. We just got started, so you haven't missed much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes. I also wanted to just briefly go over the conference and when the poster presentations will be taking place. So I'm going to bring up that schedule real quick. And can everyone see the schedule? Is it on there?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see.
Great. Okay. So the conference has been pushed up a little bit this year because where we are having it in Lexington, Kentucky, I'm sorry, that's in 2025. In 2024. So in 2023 in Toronto, the weekend after this conference is scheduled is there, like in the USA, our Thanksgiving weekend. And the planning committee felt like if we went into Friday too much, that we wouldn't have a large audience for a lot of what is going to be going on Friday. So we pushed it up just a little bit. And the schedule is a little bit different this year. And I wanted to just go over this really briefly with you. So it will start on Tuesday with the NCI workshop, which is a workshop that's held pretty much every year. And then the newcomers and the special reception that takes place in that evening. The workshops, which we are looking at confirming at this time, are primarily going to be held in the mornings now, like before any of the plenaries or keynote sessions take place. So those are held on Wednesday and Thursday mornings. And then there is the plenary and then the breakout sessions after that. You will see on Wednesday, the poster session is from 1:45 to 3:15. That is different from last year. Last year, the poster sessions were on Thursday and Friday. So this year it's going to be on Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Thursday, it will be about the same time, a little bit later, 1:30 to 3 o'clock. A little bit earlier, 1:30 to 3 o'clock. So that's what that schedule looks like this year. And then on Friday, there will be another set of breakout sessions in the morning, the closing plenary, and then some of the ACE and CPEN meetings that will take place that afternoon. What I also wanted to say was, so it looks like what we're going to be doing is we're going to be asking folks to set up on Tuesday for their poster presentations. even if you are in session A or B, we are asking folks to be set up and to be set up throughout the entirety of the conference. And so we ask folks to set up on that Tuesday. Those posters will be up on Wednesday and Thursday, and then they'll take them down on Thursday afternoon and Friday after the last session takes place. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of go through that a little bit so that you all are aware of what the schedule looks like and how it's a little bit different from before. As you know, the abstract submissions closed on the 17th of March. We received about 100 submissions, and which is a great, it's about 10 or so more than what we did last year at this time. We have 3 symposiums. We have 56 poster and oral submissions. We have 21 oral only, and we have 20 posters. Now, this is only the first round of submissions. If you remember last year, we also had late breaking submissions, and those will open up in early July. So we will have numbers that will be added to this. Last year, we had 70-ish posters that were put up, and it will all depend on what those reviews look like and how many of those posters get accepted this year as to what that will look like. But I wanted to give you a little bit of an idea as to where we are on numbers at this point. I also wanted to just provide for you an overview of how those poster submissions work. So most of the time, the posters will be accepted. So pretty much anybody who wants to submit a poster, it will be accepted. Sometimes they will be asked to rework their poster. And some of these oral presentations will be accepted, and some of them will be recommended to either go into poster or some other fashion. So the review process for the posters is the initial review process to say, yes, we accept this as a poster, we accept this as an oral presentation. And then once they're accepted as a poster and they go up in the poster presentations for the conference, then they are judged. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. They're judged by on-site judges that will then make determinations about who will receive a reward or an award on those posters. So they actually get reviewed a couple of times. The first time just to determine whether they're accepted at the conference, and the second time would be to judge them to determine whether they will receive an award at the conference or not. I am explaining this because I was always confused with this in the past, and I just wanted to explain it in a way that I felt like I needed to have it explained to me as I have been learning all about how this has been done.
No,
So
that's super helpful. I do have one question
Okay.
for you with that. So do we participate in both, or are we just doing the first screening? Sorry, I'll come on camera since you stop sharing your screen. Are we just doing the first screening of them and then like other people are participating in the actual poster judging?
So we send out an invitation for ACE, CPEN, and other people who've been involved in the conference to be judges.
Okay.
Sometimes those people are committee members and sometimes they're not. If you have indicated that you're willing to be either a reviewer, which is what we call the person who reviews those initial abstracts, or a poster judge, which is the person that judges the posters at the conference, then you are a person who is assigned that abstract. And what I can do, Sam, is this is a great question because I can send that back out to this committee. So if you're interested in being either a reviewer, and at this point it would be a reviewer for the second round of late breaking abstracts,
Yeah,
or a poster judge, then you can indicate that in a link that I can provide to you. So I can send that
Okay.
back out to this committee.
okay.
So yeah, this is not this is a process that is a really great way to hold a conference, but it takes a little bit of time, I think, to get to know how everything works and the schedule for all of that as well. So, anyway.
Okay, so yeah,
Does
so
that-
I think so I think the number of the poster and the abstract year by year is increasing, right? I mean, 100, is it the highest, you know, comparing with other years, or last year it was 90 and now 100?
It
Which is good
is,
to me.
it is about 10 more than what we've had in previous years. And I am going to bring up real quick what we've seen in previous years so that I can give you an idea of that. But it is about 10 more. So in 2022, we had 89 submissions at this point in time. So we're talking this doesn't include the late breaking.
Yeah,
In
sure.
2021, we had 77. In
Okay.
2020, we had 88, and in 2019, we had 93. So this is about 10
Could
more
be
than what we've
nice,
had in
yeah.
previous years.
Yeah, so this is really a positive point. I mean, to see the abstracts and people are interesting to participate. Good.
Yeah, I agree. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out with the late breaking abstracts.
Yeah. So what about, may I ask the other question about these abstracts? I mean, both posters or oral. I guess most of them are from North America, right? Is there any from international? I mean, the percentage of the international abstracts, I mean, people are submitting.
I don't have the breakdown for you, but I can tell you just eyeballing those abstracts, we have quite a few international. And we have quite a few international reviewers as well.
Okay.
Actually, it's interesting that you asked that question because as I was assigning the reviewers, I was really impressed with the diversity of the reviewers that we have, USA, Canadian, and international. So yeah, we have a great group who all have their perspectives, which I think is really important. Each of these abstracts get reviewed by 3 people. So it's not just one person's perspective. And what I do is I assign one CPEN member, one ACE member, and then a third that might come from either CPEN or ACE, or may not be a member of any of those.
And I think you take the average, right?
So what's going to happen is we will take the average of those scores, as you say, and we will put those together, and then we make a recommendation to the abstract committee to determine who is going to be accepted for an oral presentation and who will be accepted as a poster. Pretty much, I mean, this is what I have observed in the last couple of years that I've done this, is that if people are not accepted as an oral presentation, say they have requested an oral presentation or a poster or an oral, then they pretty much are recommended for a poster.
Right.
So it's very uncommon for people to just be declined any option there. Now, we may highly recommend that they make adjustments to their abstract based on the reviewer's recommendations. So we may ask them to rework it, but we don't usually decline them altogether.
So, and what about the posters? Would it be the traditional one or it's electronic? You got my question?
Yeah, I don't understand your question.
No, the posters, would it be the traditional one, I mean, in that chart, or it would be electronic in some screens in the conference?
So all posters, now that the conference is in person and it is not hybrid, all posters have to be in person. Is that what you're asking?
No, not in hybrid. I mean, I'm sure it is in person, but would it be displays in the some screens, electronic, or I mean, people, they should get their posters and just put it there?
It all has to be physical posters.
Okay.
Yeah, they all have to be physical posters.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. We're going to actually go through some of that. Yeah, Susan.
I was going to ask, when does notification go out for acceptance?
for the oral abstracts. The poster, all of the abstracts from the initial abstract are out for reviews. Those reviews are due June the 12th. So once we review those reviews, send it to the abstract committee and get the feedback from the abstract committee as to what their recommendations are, that's when we begin to notify when those abstracts, the people whose abstracts are going to be accepted. So if I were to guess, it takes at least a couple weeks to get to that point. So maybe the end of June.
Okay. I remember several people being concerned about international and getting approval for international travel, even though it's barely international.
Yeah.
for US.
Yeah. So that's what that looks like. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the poster judging form. Now, this is something else that I want to clarify as well. So the review process for those who are reviewing these abstracts, they use a form that is different from this one. This is a form that is used to judge posters on site. And if you have volunteered to be a poster judge on site, then you do need to attend the conference. So I'm going to bring this up so that we can review it. I'm going to go over it and just see if you all have any changes to this at all. So we call it the poster adjudication form. And there are two sides to this evaluation. And the first is for research. Now, if you remember, for abstracts, you have two categories that you can submit your abstract. One is research and one is practices. And so there are two adjudication forms because they have different criteria for each of those. So the first one is for research posters. And so, and I'll show you where when someone is putting their poster together, there are instructions on the website, which we will go over. And on those instructions, there are these forms so that people can see what their poster is being judged by. And so what we have included in this, and this is what we included last year, is the visual presentation and some of the aspects of that visual presentation, how it looks like, you know, colors and flow, what the readability is, the visual impact, the conceptual framework, clarity of your research question, the clarity of your explanation of the rationale, the appropriateness of the description of the methodology, the relevance of the results, the clarity of your conclusions that are supported by the data, and the description of the opportunities for future research. And then how it's relevant to cancer education, and then the presentation. Now, what happens with these is that there are groups of posters that are assigned to 3 judges. And what we recommend is that those 3 judges get together and go through the posters that they are assigned together. And part of the judging of that poster is asking the poster presenter a question. And so part of how they're going to judge that poster is how that poster presenter answers that one question that the group asks. We ask them to go in a group because it just makes it easier for all of the judges to hear the answer to that question, rather than all 3 judges going at a different time and asking 3 questions. Sometimes there's more than one question that comes up in the conversation, but I think that just makes it easier and more streamlined in terms of the judging process. So that question is applicable regardless of whether it's a research or practices poster. So that's the research. And then this is the practices poster. And the practices poster is fairly similar. There's a little bit of difference in the conceptual framework, but they want to make sure that there is ease in visual presentation, and that the statement of purpose, that the clarity of identified need, is there the clarity of the description of how the practice is designed to address the described need and the outcomes with measurement strategies. And then the usefulness is similar, and the presentation of the poster as well, with the insightfulness of the responses to judges' questions. So the judges' question is included in both of those. Just to clarify, the judges can submit their reviews in one of two ways. There will be paper aspects of this at the registration table, or a judge could go online and submit their answers online in a survey monkey. We will take answers either way. So let me go back up to this and just see, does anyone have, in looking at this, this is for the research questions, anything that you feel needs to be added to that, or anything that needs to be different?
Well, I think this is good. I mean, it's a comprehensive where you take all the aspects into consideration from my side.
Great.
Yeah, and I think even if you don't have experience as a judge in the research space in particular, you can still answer the questions very easily. So I think that the questions are clear and make a lot of sense too for the judging the categories here.
I appreciate that, Sam, because so many times, you know, and I guess I can relate to this because I used to be in patient education. I used to think that I would not be able to answer or to judge something that is research-based because I was not a researcher. But I appreciate the fact that you made that comment, because I feel like this does give the clarity of what you're looking at, so that anyone, regardless of whether they're a researcher or not, can provide feedback on these.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like these questions. I think it's really good.
Great, thank you. If I didn't mention before, Sam is one of our co-chairs for this committee. Sam, thank you for serving as the co-chair for this committee. And
No
Levi
problem.
Ross, who was not able to be here today, he is our other co-chair. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is the practices. Anything about that needs to change?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, good.
Okay. Great. All right, so we will keep those as is, and I think that will work. I think that will work well. And just to make one more comment about poster judging, usually what I do is once those posters are assigned to poster judges, I do an in-person poster judging session a week or two before the conference. So by the time folks get to the conference, especially if they haven't judged before, they know what they need to do at the conference. So we try to make sure that we provide as much information as possible so that when people go, they know what they need to be doing.
Yeah, the feedback I got from team members last year who had never done it before, they were like, it was so helpful because they were really nervous about showing up and not knowing what they were supposed to do. So they found that session super helpful.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. One of the things that is really important, I think, for this conference is that we make sure that it doesn't just, if you will, cater to those people who've been there before, that we make it really friendly for folks who are new. And I'll talk a little bit about this in the website that I'm getting ready to show you and we'll review. One of the things that you will see in these abstracts is that there are a lot of students who submit abstracts for this conference, which is really great because they're learning. And we want them to get that experience in learning, and not just in submitting abstracts, but in being a judge or being a reviewer or whatever it is that, allows you to be able to get the experience to have continuous, I say, experienced blood, but also new blood in these kinds of things. So one of the things that, go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, and for them, it is good to be at the conference and with the interactions, networking also, this is really very good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I think so too. So having that feedback from experienced folks and being able to receive that mentoring and what I say, the constructive relationship that helps people improve and get to know what they need to do to be successful researchers, I think is just really helpful. And that's a big emphasis for this particular conference. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. You notice that I like to unshare my screen when I can, because I think it's easier to have conversations when my screen isn't shared, but sometimes we need to see what's on the screen as well. So I'm just going to say, this is the 2022 ICEC poster information for poster presenters. And the reason that I'm using this is because this is the sort of basis for the information that we'll use for 2023. And that website, the website's up, but the information for poster presenters is not up yet, because we need to review it and just make sure that you all are feeling comfortable with all aspects of this. So this is the place on the ICEC webpage where presenters, whether they are oral presenters or poster presenters, can go to get information about what they need to do to pull their poster together. And you'll notice there's also information for oral presenters too. So we also have a page for them too. So we provide information regarding how they need to be putting their poster together. One of the really cool things that we try to do each year is we try to have this poster presenter badge. So what you can do is you can download this once we get it up and running, and you can put it under your name and your signature as you send emails out. So that once your poster or abstract is submitted and accepted, then you can let people know just by putting it underneath your signature that you have been accepted and that you're going to be going to the conference, which I think is really cool. Of course, this conference is in Toronto, Canada, and we encourage people to download their poster presenter badge. So I'm just going to start out by talking about this preparing your poster section. I'm not looking at this part of it yet, and I hope that you all can see this okay. So we try to provide information for people who want more information about how to put their poster together. So they can click on a YouTube video that is about 20 minutes long that can give them a little bit of information about how to put a great poster together. And then they also have additional resources for your ability to be able to put a poster together too. So people can click on these and get more information on putting their poster together. This information, as far as I know right now, will be the same. They put up 8 foot by 4 foot, so 8 foot wide by 4 foot high, and we have 2 posters on each of those boards. And so we really ask people to stay within that guideline in terms of the size of their poster. And then we explain how we label their posters. So it would be P stands for poster. 1 would be the number on there. So it helps them be able to identify where they can find where their poster needs to be in the poster presentation area. And then A indicates it would be the first poster session. So in this case, it would be on Wednesday. B would be the second poster session, which in this case would be on Thursday. Last year, we also added an S at the end if that poster presentation was being provided by a student. And the reason that the group felt that that was important is that they felt like students needed special consideration in feedback and just making sure that the judges were taking into consideration that they were students to help them grow and learn and mentor them. So one of my questions for you all this year is, do we want to identify the students separately as we did last year? So do you all have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that
I
is a
think-
good idea. Yeah, I mean, just to identify the students, and yeah, why not, to me?
I didn't see any negative aspects of that coming from last year. So, great.
I think it's a good idea. And I had a conversation with Georgia at the meeting. And, you know, she was remarking on how she always likes to remind people that some of the, you know, when they're doing the judging or even the reviewing, that there are some students and you need to be a little bit more gentle and, you know, in your comments. So I think that would be great.
So that puts up and center the fact that these are students. That allows the judges to know with the S there that they are students.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so we'll keep that up as part of it. And then we provide push pins, and then there are some, oh, and there's also a table that's underneath each of those where people can put any kind of handouts. We don't see a lot of handouts in these poster presentations, but if people want to provide handouts, then they can. And then here are some other suggestions on how to put the poster together. So I guess my point here is that there is a lot of information provided, especially for people who've never put a poster together, that not only provides information about the size, but also how to do it so that they can have the best chance of a great score for that. Okay, so then in the second column, and this was something that we added last year, we talk about a fabric poster. And I don't know, Jamal, if this was something that you were trying to get at too, in terms of an electronic or a paper poster.
You know, now many conferences are now converted to this to be more for easy, that there are now screens and where they can get their USBs there and just put it there rather than having the big tube of the posters. And so that's why I asked you this, but it seems to be it's the traditional way that we are doing. It's not the electronic one where they can just get their USB and just put it in the screen.
So
Yeah.
I think, Jamal, you know, the reason that we have these is so that we can bring up new ideas. And I think that what I would like to do is take that suggestion back to Jen. What I am guessing is that adding a number of TV screens to that poster presentation session will be cost prohibitive. That's my guess, but I don't think it ever hurts to ask and see if that's something that is a possible option or not. So
just think about it for the future conferences, because most of the people now converting it to the electronic, which is easy for people, you know.
Just to
so
bring
maybe
a USB.
if it is not possible now, probably for the future conferences.
I'll ask the question though, and I'll get back to you on that. I'll find an answer for you, just so, because I don't want to make an assumption. I'm not the boss here.
Right. So, by the way, where the conference will be? Is it in a university or hotel or exhibition center or?
It's in a hotel.
Okay.
It'll be in a hotel. Yeah. Which
Okay.
makes it easy because the rooms are right there, and then the conference center is just a part of the hotel.
Right. And it is already known, right? Because I'm not sure, I read it somewhere that it is where, you know, for people to book and to try to plan the trip, like for me from Jordan, so I'll just be at the same hotel or nearby. So is it there? I mean, mentioned somewhere?
It is. Let me bring it up. So I'm bringing up the conference information. And let's see if I can find where the registration is not open yet.
I think it's in the travel tab.
Well, that would make sense. Okay, so Marriott downtown Toronto is where it's gonna be. Can you see that, Jamal?
Yeah.
So if you
Okay.
go on the conference website and go under travel, this is where it's gonna be held.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I will ask the question about the electronic, so that we can, see if we can get that to work.
Okay.
Let me go back to poster. I think I shut down that. Let's go. Bear with me. Stop sharing so I can pull this up. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we do talk about the fabric poster, and this makes it easy to travel with the poster. I don't know if you've ever seen a fabric poster, but this is a great example of what one looks like. So you can just fold it up and put it in your suitcase rather than have to carry around some kind of, some
Okay.
kind of tube. So while that's not a thumb drive, it certainly is easier than having to carry a tube of a poster, of a paper poster. And that provides information there about how to do a fabric poster if you want to. This talks about the poster judging. When people submit their abstract, they are able to indicate whether they want to opt out of judging. So there are people who can opt out of judging, and sometimes we have maybe just a handful of those who do. But if they don't, then this is where the pre-established set of criteria are. Of course, this will be updated to 2023, and it will be what we all talked about today.
Okay.
Okay. And then the poster schedule, I talked a little bit about the poster schedule. The setup will actually be Tuesday. And then the session A will be on Wednesday, session B on Thursday, and the takedown will be Thursday afternoon and Friday. Okay.
Okay.
And most of you know that there is a Feedloop app that when you go to the conference, you can look on the app to find the schedule, to find abstracts, and etc. So we ask poster presenters to download a PDF of their posters so that those posters can go on the app. And so we ask for that, and the deadline for this is actually going to be like around the 19th of September 2023, because the conference is about a week earlier this year, and we need enough time to be able to put those posters together, organize them, and then download them on the app. So we need a couple weeks to be able to do that before the conference. And we have a submission form that can be used for that, and it's pretty easy to do from there. And then more information on on poster printing and how they can get their poster printed. Is there anything that you can think of that is missing other than, Jamal, I'm going to ask the question about the electronic poster. I don't know whether that's going to be a possibility, but I think it's a great question. We'll see if that's possible. If not this year, then next year, maybe, if it isn't cost prohibitive. Is this website easy for you all to use and follow as far as you, does this all make sense to you?
I think it's easy. I mean, everything is written there, all the information. Thank you so much.
Great. Okay. So then, the other things that we are considering is we're going to do the training. I've talked about the posters being included on the Feedloop platform, and then the judging submission being available either electronically on SurveyMonkey or on paper. You all have helped me make some decisions. I'm gonna send out the link if you want to be a poster judge again, Sam, so I'll do that and follow up. I'll post this to ACE Connect so that anyone who is on the committee and wasn't able to be a part of the meeting, then they can either watch it, and I'll also post some meetings to their, some minutes to that as well.
Okay, great. So do you think that in the future, we need to expand this to outside North of America, the submission, probably through our network, to see more and more participation from international, figures or students, even from outside North America?
Yeah, so I wonder if there's a way that I can provide a breakdown for this year. Would that be helpful to you, Jamal?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, maybe in
Okay.
my opinion, since we are talking about the global oncology and global cancer education, it is really important for everyone. Probably we have to work on it to have more participation from outside North Africa, from Asia, from Africa, from Middle East, from Europe, probably through our network. So we can work on that if that's okay for you guys.
Any thoughts on that, Susan or Sam?
I don't have strong feelings.
I think that it's great to be inclusive.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's what I think really helps build the network of cancer cancer educators, not just patient educators, but cancer
Yeah.
educators.
I agree.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so future meetings. What I will probably do is be back in touch for us to meet again, because we'll want to talk a little bit more about judging, maybe even about late breaking abstracts, those kinds of things. Sam, I'll get together with you and Levi first to see if we can maybe schedule something and then send something out to the rest of the committee to see if we can get as many people as possible from the group to be able to participate. I'm thinking sometime in August. So we, a couple months from now, once we have all the abstracts and we know that we need to go ahead and schedule the judging training as well.
Okay.
So if no one has anything else, I want to thank all of you for being a part of this today. I think we got from it what we needed, and I'll send information out to see if we can get any other feedback from any other committee member, but I think we're in a position to be able to move forward at this point.
Sure.
sounds
Thank you.
good.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
thank
Y'all
you,
have a good
guys.
rest of your day and good
You
luck
too.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.